One of the things that I get a lot of questions about in coaching with agents, realtors specifically, is how do I plan my day? And in real estate, it's not like your typical job where you work a corporate job and you have to be somewhere at 8 and then you get to go home at 5. Maybe you have some conferences to go to on the weekends and evenings and paperwork to do. But real estate's one of those things that it has a misnomer of you can schedule your life how you want and you can work whenever you want. And that's why I think it seems so appealing to a lot of people that get into real estate. Like, oh, I love houses. I want to have my own schedule. And that's why I want to work in real estate. And it kind of makes me laugh because it's kind of, that's not the truth. You actually can get into the space with real estate where you end up working so many hours that you don't even know when your personal life ends and begins and work ends and begins. It kind of all just goes together. So you find yourself working early in the mornings, late at night, into the weekends, and then maybe in the middle of the day, you'll do some of your personal stuff. So it kind of gets scattered. So one of the things I realized really early on, and I've taught time blocking and I speak on time blocking. And when I say time block, it's basically being intentional about your day-to-day schedule and what you do with your time. Because we're all assigned the same amount of 24 hours in a day. It's dependent on how you use it, how you leverage, how you delegate. And there's two differences in leveraging and delegating. So leveraging is using someone to help you get more done, but you don't give the whole thing away. Whereas delegating is like you give the whole thing away and they report back and they say, here it is, it's done. So there are things that you can delegate. I believe in life, like maybe cleaning your house or doing yard work or landscaping, running errands, things like that can be delegated, meaning like you can give them an assignment, they'll take care of it, you can check it off your list, they're taking full autonomy of it. Whereas there's things that you leverage, meaning someone that will help you get projects done. For an example, like when I put someone under contract, sometimes I have my admin who's fully licensed realtor go to the inspection and sits there for 3 hours. We get the report back. If there's any questions, I'll call the inspector and we kind of run through it because I've already been in the house, I put them under contract, negotiated all that, and it just needs someone there to be there for 2 to 3 hours. Occasionally, I will also go there at the beginning or go to the end, depending on schedules to be there, but that would be a great example of leverage. She's there doing the inspection, but I haven't given the whole contract to her to handle from beginning to end. So those are the two big factors of knowing what can you delegate and what can you leverage to kind of stretch your time and do more in your life. One of the biggest things I love is Google Calendar. That's one of my digital things I love. And then also I use the Full Focus Planner. I put a little sticker here for the collaborative. And this is a Michael Hyatt system. There's so many other planners and calendars out there, but the reason I love their system is because they use a quarterly plan. So I know once every 3 months I need to prep for the next quarter, and it lets me chunk my mind into quarters versus the whole year in general. Even though we do have annual goals, it's just really breaking it down per quarter, which I think personally is so much more helpful for your brain to process and understand what you're dealing with. And in addition, it kind of pairs really nicely with the book called 12-Week Year. So if you haven't read that, I highly recommend that as well. But I do this and I do a weekly preview. So every Sunday evening, part of my Sunday reset that you'll see me do, sometimes I film on, is I do a weekly preview looking ahead, what's going to happen ahead for the next week. I look back on what happened the last week. I look at my wins. I look at things that went really well, look at things that I could do better at, and it kind of lets me evaluate what happened and then what do I want to happen in the next week ahead. It also lets me choose basically and highlight the top 3 things that I need to do in the coming week and what the top 3 big initiatives are to move things forward that I'm trying to do, whether it's sales, whether it's personal, whatever that may be for you, projects. And then also what's so great is that there's a daily check-in where you write in daily, this one's blank, and it has the day and has the daily big 3 things that we need to focus on. And then I usually transfer my daily Google Calendar onto here and write it down. And it also serves as a scratch pad. It serves as a note-taking place when someone calls me and I need to take notes for a new client, or if I need to remember something and I have a laundry list of things I need to dump out of my brain. I call it brain dumping. This is a really good resource for that. So highly recommend that. So the biggest takeaways are, if you're trying to get your life together, you want to schedule or time block. You want to figure out when is your beginning and when is your end of your day, work day, and then put your big to-dos, your big rocks in first. Then you put the half to-dos in next, meaning like your doctor's appointments, your listing appointments, meeting clients, your prospecting is huge, those kind of things. And family time is huge. I would call that a big rock. What are you working so hard for? For me, it's family, my personal life. That's why I work so hard. So if you don't make time for those things, all the work stuff doesn't really matter, right? So those are kind of things. Or if you have a hobby that you love to do and it feeds you and it feeds your soul, then you want to make sure that that's a big rock in your life. those kinds of things need to go in first. So I always tell people at the beginning of the year when you plan your schedule, delete everything and put like your vacation times, your holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, things that are really important to you, your vacations that you want to take, do that first. Then put in all your time away for work, like your conferences, things that you're going to do to go away. I'm speaking specifically for real estate because I do a lot of real estate conferences, or my Tony Robbins conferences, which is for personal growth and coaching. Things like that need to be put in first. And then you work with what's left, right? You have that leftover time. If you're going to decide, I'm only going to take appointments between 9 and 4, then everything needs to be in that 9 and 4 time period. So it's going to actually make you work more efficiently and better because you're going to have a boundary of where you're going to be looking in your eyes. This is where I need to put that client versus saying, when do you want to go see that house? Or when do you want to meet? So you have a specific time frame where you can say, do you want to meet Tuesday or Thursday between 2 and 4 each week? Or we can find another time for you. But when you give someone a specific, they tend to pick that specific. So I didn't mean to make this video this long, but I know there's a lot to it. And I know there's a lot of questions. It's probably my number one thing that we go over with my clients is, what does their calendar look like? What does their day look like? How does it begin and end, and what goes on in the middle of the day, and all the priorities that go on with it. It's not necessarily about, getting up at 4 in the morning and working out and doing all this crazy stuff. That is great too if you want to have that, but I don't necessarily think you have to have that to be successful in this world. It's a notary and response that people are successful if they do have a morning routine, just because it's like a routine that gets them straight and gets them going in the morning, but it's not a have to have, because there are a lot of people that just get up and work and then do excellent in this world too. So I think that's really important to figure out what fits you and what fits your lifestyle. Everybody does things differently, and there's many different ways to do life and business, and I think that it's important to figure out what fits you and your life. Hope that's helpful, and please subscribe and follow if this information is interesting to you, and I'd love to hear from you what you want to hear.